Hello, hello. Welcome to the People's Food and Farming Alliance. I'm Katherine McBean, and I'm joined today by my wonderful colleague, the bowler hat farmer, Mark Byford. We wanted to come and do a bit of an impromptu chat with you guys and let you know what's going on out there. Mark's had some quite concerning news this week in terms of food availability, let's say. And certainly what we'll do is we'll start with Mark giving us an update from the wholesale sector, which is obviously the area he's been working within for a number of years, and what he's finding there. Mark, do you want to tell us all what's going on and why you're a bit concerned, my love?
Catherine, good afternoon, darling. Yes, Catherine, there's so much happening on the food side at the moment, which is all quite scary. We'll come to the positives at the end and we'll talk about that when we come along. But at this point, on the wholesale side, daily now, and it used to be once a month, it's now got down to a daily occurrence that we're receiving messages from either local farmers, local wholesalers, international wholesalers. All of the people in the food industry are now starting to wake up to the fact of just how short stock is. So just to give you an idea, Catherine, what I would deem as basics in the UK, and I do mean basics, things like mint, tarragon, chives, iceberg lettuce, little gem lettuce, things what this time of year we should have in abundance growing on our own land. You can't get any. Not only can you not get the English stuff, we can't get it in from overseas either. So we're seeing this massive shortages. Now, I know some weeks ago I reported on the fact that I'd been to the carrot farm and the farmer had got two tractors buried in up to their neck and they couldn't get them out of the field. Just to rub insult to injury on that, Catherine, we normally have a 6 to 8 week window where there's no carrots on the UK farms. We normally dip over to French carrots at that point and then come back when the new season English comes in. This week, the only carrots I can buy wholesale are from China.
Blimey. Right.
China,
Okay.
for crying out loud. That says to me, we have not just a little problem, we have a big problem. Yeah. So just to give you an idea, I'm already getting reports come through from wholesalers for this week for tender stem broccoli, ice pack broccoli. Oranges are now becoming a major issue. So a lot of the oranges, what did come out, and this will affect orange juice as well. So all the oranges what were coming out of the Florida, California area are nearly non-existent now because they got a beetle, which I believe was put in there by man. That's gone down throughout Mexico, Argentina. It's working its way across. It's shown up now in Europe. It's going to wipe out the orange colony trees across Europe. It's going to cause some massive problems with the citrus as we roll forward. So you're talking about oranges, grapefruit, ugly fruit, lemons, limes, the whole lot and caboodle, what we're used to having as an abundance and a readiness are all disappearing. We're seeing this also on things like this time of year, we're now starting to come away from the foreign new potatoes onto the English. English new potatoes are £2 a kilo off the farm, £48 a bag for a 25 kilo bag. You know, it's nearly £2 a kilo, just ridiculous prices. Cauliflowers today up at £2.47 wholesale, and the supermarkets I think are £1.5. They've got the farmers by the short and curlies, Catherine, and they're pushing and pushing and pushing the price up to the public, the price down to the farm, and people should leave them in droves. Don't give them your money.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. That in and of itself, the fact that I mean, I know I've grown mint in the past and that stuff is prolific. I mean, you know, I have to put it in pots or it's all over everything. So the fact that we're struggling to grow mint in this country is very concerning. Something that's such a prolific plant is very concerning. What are you hearing from farmers? How are farmers feeling at the moment? What's that reality look like?
Catherine, it's interesting because obviously, I mean, I'm based in the heart of East Anglia, and Bury St Edmunds, the middle of East Anglia. We're very much an arable or sugar beet area. Whilst there's quite a lot of livestock about, one of the big pig farmers locally to me has just packed up, and they were breeding something in the region of 15,000 pigs through on a monthly basis. They've gone, sold all the kit. They had an auction there at the weekend, last weekend, and that's now all completely cleared out. When you're talking about that level of food disappearing from the industry, now arguably some of that will come in from overseas at this point in time.
Yes.
Because that won't come on long term, that won't stand. We know that. Now, we're seeing the the cereal problems. It's so wet where we are, Katherine. It's poured and poured and poured for the last, since, you know, August last year. The last 3 days, it's just been torrential downpours where we are. Whilst the crops that are in the ground are looking quite nice, you've got the problem that a lot of the land is still not set, Katherine, and this year won't be. Simple as that. They're now too late to put anything in it. You know, they could still get beans in, but will they have time to dry off before they harvest and so forth? Don't see it. I had a phone call from a friend the other day to ask me, why is there fields full of flowers everywhere? How are we going to feed people with them? And I said, that's a very good question. It's one I've been trying to get answers to now for the past 6 months and still can't get the answers off the farmers why they've done it, apart from this £300 an acre subsidy involved. We know why they've done it, Katherine. I think no farmers are waking up to that. I think they are starting to ask the question of where's the food going to come from. And I think with that comes its own set of challenges, because the public need to drive this. Cannot emphasize enough with this. At the end of the day, supermarkets deliver you as a product what you require. Farmers have to grow that and back it up, whether that's a local, national, international farmer. They have to grow that and send that in. What needs to happen with this, Katherine, I think personally, is 2 things. One, we need the consumers to start telling people what changes they want, whether that's telling their small independent store or selling the supermarkets or the farmer what they want. If people want to see less glyphosates used, less nitrogen used, tell your farmers. Yeah. Put it into the system, you know, put it online that you want, as a consumer, you want less of that. The other side is that farmers have got to listen to what people want. Yeah. One of the, Katherine, you and I were both involved early this year, and it wasn't until the other day I was doing a speech at my cousin's farm, at Jubilee Farm on Monday, and I thought to myself, the penny dropped, Katherine, and I was like, it was like an epiphany moment. And he's really into religion, and obviously Gloria, my partner, is as well. And he said to me, he said, you just had a moment from God, didn't you? And I just laughed and I said, well, I definitely had an epiphany. Katherine, you and I both fought hard and tooth and nail to try and get farmers to not take these get out of farming payments, right? However, I think there's some positive come out of this. All the farmers who were older and didn't want to make the changes that were necessary for what's coming in, less chemicals, less fertilizer, less land being used for bulk commercial growth of sugar beet, arable, whatever it might be, them farmers have wiggled their way out of the system with a handout. What we're left with now is the ones who wanted to take over some of the family farms taking over from granddad. If they've sold the farm and got out, great, you know, goodbye. But the ones who have stayed in it, I've seen this all the time where granddads give up the farm and it's gone down to the grandkids, and the grandkids want to farm it traditionally. They want to go back to 4 or 5 different methods of farming on a farm and do it on a cycle, like a 4-year cycle like we used 2 years ago. This is a massive step in the right direction, but that needs to come from consumers. Consumers need to tell people, and then people need to be the supermarkets and the farmers.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And what has been really encouraging, particularly since we started bringing on board regional ambassadors, because those guys are just fantastic. And what's becoming apparent, and I've seen it for a number of years, is just how many of the public would love to have a small farm, a small community farm, and serve the community around them. And by nature of what they're trying to do, the majority of them are going to start small because they're not necessarily farmers. They're not necessarily previously experienced. They're going to build up gently, but they don't want huge hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of acres. They want something manageable. And we're seeing more and more of this happen. It's going to come down to a little bit of a battle for the land, I think, us versus the government. But at the end of the day, and you and I were talking about this earlier, because we know how far things might go. There might be things we have to do that aren't super perfect, but we have to do what we have to do, because at the end of the day, it is our natural born, if for some God-given right, to sustain ourselves. It is as simple as that. There is no question, there's no quibbling, there's no compromise. We have the right to feed ourselves. And I think if it comes down to it, we will end up having to take on land, should we need to, in order to grow the food. So let's try, though, and mitigate against that. Let's try and work with the farmers now while we can. Let's try and reach out to them while we can. Let's try and have those conversations. If they're going to go, they're going to go. That's their right. There's nothing you can do about it. But certainly I would suggest, if you've got a farmer and he's thinking of taking the 100,000, at least try and talk him into the fact that actually, why don't you take back some of your land farm some of it, and we in the community can come and farm another part of it potentially. I mean, there's so many different options to look at, but I think the public are going to engage. The consumers are going to drive the changes. They're going to drive what happens next, and all of us can get involved. All of us can play a part in shifting and changing and moving forward. But you're right, there is a lot of positives from the fact that we're going to have new farmers coming on, and it's going to look a bit different, and we can build the models going forward that we know benefit the land, benefit the local community, benefit the farmer, benefit the animals, the local natural wildlife, the whole lot. It'll be incredible. Talking
Katherine,
of regional ambassadors, go on. Sorry, mate.
Just on that note, one of the things which I mentioned earlier, I was on another interview and I was talking to UK column, and I was saying to Charles on there that one of the things that we have missed in all of this is the fact of, you and I have both been very concerned about how much land has gone back to, whether we're talking bank owned, commercially owned, whoever has bought that land up. Okay, now if a farmer grows wheat and wheat comes in at £200 a tonne, and they grow 4 to 5 tonne an acre, let's give them 5 tonnes so it makes it a nice simple round £1,000 per tonne, right? £1,000 an acre, okay? And you take out all your chemicals and all your fertiliser and all your seed, and you might be left with maybe £200, okay? Now, on an acre, and bear in mind, 5 tonne of crop. Yeah, okay. I've got a friend who's got a 3-acre site, no dig, right? An LWA member who's cropping out at almost 22 tonne an acre over the course of a year, right?
Right.
And is taking in the region of £130,000. Farmers have lost the plot, in my opinion, when they're looking at commercially running farms. Yeah. They have this vast equipment costing vast amounts of money on vast amounts of interest, you know, all because then they can do it with just a few people.
Yeah.
They've lost the plot. They looked at the finances completely upside down, Katherine. Over the last 50 years, we've come away from having lots of people working on a farm where we could grow a lot of everything. We could have a few animals that, you know, we could have a little bit of vegetables, a little bit of cereal, a little bit of cover crop, a little bit of hay, whatever that needed to be to get us through the year. Out of that, you could have had 10 people employed, and you could easily have paid the 10 people out of the extra money you'd have taken off of the extra growth. This is what we've got to get farmers to understand. This is the bit, and I'm sure if this goes out to a farmer, I'm going to get slated for what I'm saying. But you know what? They need to listen up, because the changes are coming, and this has been pushed down. Now, I know we're pushing back from one way on this, Katherine, but the reality is it's also been pushed down from above. The WEF want this change in farming. That's why they're trying to smash the farming community to bits, because the community as it stands at the moment is absolutely flawed in how they're doing business, and that needs to change. Yeah, massively, massively. And touching on the WEF, I noticed they've started using the language of food hubs, ironically, but what they're talking about is like 3 or 4 international food hubs. Everything flows through that. Everything is controlled through that. Everything is distributed through that. What we want is food, literally inverting that. We want food in every village, in every single community. Yeah, every single community across the UK, across the world, you know, is the ideal. And I think this is a wake-up call for farmers. Whether this is going to be the difficult bit is through the transition. We're going through a transition. We've just started. There's some way to go yet. And some farmers will jump on board and they'll see it. And just to relay that we had an open day recently that I unfortunately couldn't go to, Mark went to, and a farmer there had his soil tested, and he's been quite open to chemical usage in the past. And a soil specialist came along, one of our friends who we're hoping to have on board very soon. And he basically said, you know, fundamentally, the soil's dead. There's nothing going on in there. It's not alive. But the joy being that these guys, these experts who have been kept in the background, and now we've got to bring them into the fore. They've got answers, haven't they, Mark? It's not too late for any farmer to turn it around. No, absolutely. Katherine, I mean, as I said to, I will use Hans as an example, you know, because he did the soil test for me. When I said to him, you know, on my last farm, it took me 8 years to break the ground and get some nitrogen back in the ground. And he said, well, you can do it in 3 years if you know what you're doing. And this is what we would use. So working alongside him now, I'm now going to start looking at the farmland I'm working, because I started on that just on 7 months ago. Started breaking the soil down. It's obviously an 8-year process for me. He's saying he can get that down to 36 months. We're 7 months in with what I've already done. He's now telling me if I go through this winter coming with the system, what he's talking about, that we can get that soil within 36 months back to 100%. Now, Katherine, bear in mind that from my side, I work on a no-dig system, same as Charles Downing does. I work on the no-dig system. I work on really, really heavy clay soil. So last year we just lightly covered the top in compost and rotated that in, so not ploughing it in, so not, because this is one of the things, Katherine, what I didn't know until the other day, till Hans did this talk, that Katherine, bear in mind that there's nothing more refreshing for me as a farmer to go down a road and someone's ploughing and you see all the seagulls going down behind the plough and you see a beautiful turn, it's lovely and straight, and you think, oh, he's done a cracking job. And do you know what? You've actually done a cracking job of killing the soil, because when you take the top 12 inches of the soil and you plough it, everything that should be at the top, all the bugs and all the worms, what should be at the bottom, get turned upside down. The birds steal your worms and the bugs die. So everything in that skyscraper of 1 foot gets ploughed upside down. Now, over the course of the next year, they get themselves rejigged and back together. And what do? We do it again. It's comical. Yeah. So we've got to address these things, Katherine. We've got to start working the ground from top. You know, if you go into a forest and look at the forest floor, it's natural falling of the leaves. The seeds fall, they get covered up, they grow. It's as simple as that. It's a lush vegetation on the ground of a forest floor. There isn't any sparseness. You know, it isn't any rocket science. Nature's been doing it for millions of years, Katherine. We came along and tried to confuse it. Nature knows what it's doing. We've got to get back to nature and get back 100% on this. And I know we both fight the case of, you know, oh, global warming's a myth and, you know, and all of this. But there's some things in this, the nature side of this, where we do actually need to step backwards and see the goodness in what is available and how nature does work.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Let's be led by nature rather than the other way around. We humans can be jolly arrogant at times and we think we've got the answers for everything, whereas nature's had it right for thousands of years or whatever. So, and I think this is why it's going to be consumer led as well, because I'd hazard a guess that consumers are probably becoming more aware of this stuff than maybe some farmers are, not all farmers, but some farmers, because in their defense, they're busy, they're working, they've been doing the same process for years and years and years. And, you know, they're listening to the supermarkets and the suppliers and the companies coming to sell them products. You know, I get it. But actually, you consumers out there who know this stuff, you get this stuff, you understand the importance of soil fertility and health and so forth. Speak to your farmers, speak to your producers. They may not like it to start with. They may not be massive fans, but do it with respect, do it with kindness, but start letting them know, hang on, we don't really want this anymore. We don't want the chemicals going into the soil. We don't want food produced chemically. And they'll say, oh, we can't do it. It can't be done. It can be done. You've just got to change how you farm. And you know, we can advise, help, support with that. Put them in touch with the PFFA. We can get you in front of a load of our guys. We've got some amazing ambassadors coming on board, many who've come on this week. And Hans, we're hoping, will come and join the team because his knowledge on soil health is absolutely profound. So
phenomenal.
So we'd love to do that. What we'd like people to do is also, in light of the fact that the supermarkets, we know damn well, aren't helping the situation one tiny bit. They're actually one of the biggest problems within our food production in the UK. I think really what we'd love to do is, for those that can afford it and access it, go to your local provider, go and find your local farm shop, go and reach out to your local farmer, get in touch with, you know, the little outfits that you see dotted about the countryside. If you're able to do it, I'd suggest just steer clear of the supermarkets. Wouldn't you, Mark? We've got to make our voices
Katherine,
heard.
I'd actually go one step further than that, to be honest. What I would say on that, stepping over the hurdle of that one, is the fact that we are about to enter a time where there's going to be food shortages. Right. And if you want to go and stand in a queue at the supermarket for, you know, hours on end to say, please, sir, can I have some more? Then that's a great place to go, you know, and get checked in with your beep, so the gate opens to let you through the door, and the security camera gives you a nice little retina check and make sure you're alive. And, you know, if you want to be going down that road, queue quietly and stop pushing is the answer. If you don't want to be going down that road, now is the time to start looking out for the independents. Go to your local greengrocer, your butchers, your bakers. Find the provisions market in the town centres. Find the farmers markets. Find farm shops. Find the small retailers for food. Get out there now. Start stocking up, because bad times are coming, Katherine, and they're coming down the road really, really fast. If you've got space at home, get your heritage seeds purchased immediately. Not F1, not F1. They are bad, bad news. They're not going to come back next year, the seed from them. What you need to do is get some heritage seeds, get them in the ground as soon as possible, and start looking after yourself. No one's going to come and save us, Katherine. We all know that. This is down to us. This is down to us and nobody else.
Absolutely. And for those of you out there who maybe haven't tried growing their own before, we've recently launched our Grow Your Own membership. It's just a couple of coffees worth of cost a month. And every week you get information. Every month you get to meet with our Grow Your Own ambassador and ask questions directly. We'll be telling you when to sow what, when to harvest what, how to harvest it and store it. You know, lots and lots of information there. So go and look on the PFFA website, get in touch and join the membership. The other thing we'd like to give a shout out for is more regional ambassadors. We've got a small team. I mean, crikey, in the space of a month, we've got nigh on 40 people all ready to go out within their local community. And there's a number of different angles they can take on how they can help. And that's absolutely down to them. We very much believe in the people lead the way on this. But if you're interested, do get in touch. info@the-pffa.org. Reach out, say you'd like to join the regional ambassadors team. We'll send you to a link to the group. It's on Telegram. Jump in. There's some wonderful, wonderful people in there who are already feeling their way. Some have got started. Some of them are designing posts. I mean, it's brilliant. There's real good energy in there. Really lovely bunch of people. We're going to be meeting with them very shortly as well to do a roundup and sort of move into the next direction. But we don't need 40, we need 40,000. We need a lot of regional ambassadors across the UK. The time is coming. There may be a big project coming up in the very near future as well, which will have to push back against some authority issues coming from the government, let's say. And the more people we can get involved who can to support the community and the farmers and the producers around them, the better. We can't have enough of you guys. The final thing I think we'll put a shout out for is everyone knows we're volunteers. We have cost to cover. We've got so much we want to do. We're very open and transparent. So one thing we want to do is buy the necessary stuff that we need to create a map on our website. And on there, we're going to plot land available so people can connect up with others local to them who've got land available but can't necessarily farm it or tend to it on their own. Great opportunity for community garden or community farm. And we also are going to have a map, the same map. We're going to have all of our regional ambassadors on there, and in turn all the food hubs. Everyone can find everyone else. We can link all the dots. We can form our local networks. We can come together, communicate effectively. So we need, sadly we do, but we need funding in order to be able to do that. If anyone out there is a fundraising guru, you want to jump on board and advise us and guide us, please do. We are just regular people like you guys who happen to be incredibly passionate about what we do, and we understand what's coming down the line and want to mitigate against that. But we're all in this together. No one gets away scot-free on this one. This is food. We all need it, you know, so everyone's going to be impacted one way or the other. Any final words, Mark, before we clock off? Because it is a busy time right now.
Yeah, Katherine, one thing I would say on the donation side, whilst, you know, we're happy to look at the people who can bring on large amounts of money, this is about everyone getting involved. If anyone can spare £1, that's what this comes down to. From our side, you know, to get these websites and things built, it all costs money. If anyone can donate just a tiny amount, I'm sure Katherine will add the donate link on the bottom of this, and we can do that. On the other side, Katherine, the ambassadors, you know, what is the job of the ambassadors? I think we need to clarify that, because whilst it's great to say, oh, we're looking for ambassadors, give them a quick minute of what we actually do, because I know from my side, whilst I promote on social media what we're doing, whilst I go out and do talks on social media, on other interviews, I can go out and do talks at farms, and I speak to farmers and all of that. Give an insight into the basics of what they can do.
So everyone's different. Everyone's got different strengths. Everyone's got different weaknesses. And we are absolutely recognising that. And we're more than happy with that. If you're not an outgoing person, don't feel you can't do something. So it could be something as simple as you set up a local social media page for PFFA and invite your local groups forward and discuss what you want in terms of a food hub, maybe, or how you can connect with your local farmers. People know people, connect up, bring the dots together. It could be that you will deliver leaflets, go round, drop them at farms, drop them at local producers and shops, but as well as people. You know, we're all involved in this. We can all get involved with this. Some might be really, really confident and be happy to connect up their local farmers and producers and hold a meeting. Let these guys know what we want. Let them know that actually we don't want to be buying from supermarkets anymore. We'd much rather buy directly from you.
Absolutely.
What do you need from us to help you achieve that? What can we do to help you get there? Is it local infrastructure? Is it because you're tied in a contract? Or is it that you're just a bit scared? It's something new. You don't know what your routes to market are going to look like. How can we, the people, help you do that? Maybe you got somewhere local that you can hold workshops, so you can bring people in to help grow knowledge about what farming looks like, what producing food looks like. Maybe you've got nutritionists or specialists who can come and give a talk. Potentially you might be really confident to start interviewing farmers, finding out from them what hurdles they face, what problems the challenges they're facing, and start getting word out that we can share on our socials. You can share locally. It might be that you pull together local people to organize to create a food hub. And what that food hub looks like it can for you, for your local community, what works for you. It might be that you want to just have a little shop a couple of times a week. You might want to have a box scheme. You might want to have somewhere that just local suppliers bring their stuff and have a little stall and stand about talking and, you know, selling their wares. It might be like Mark's, it's a really small building where you're selling local produce, and it's got an honesty box, and it's as simple as that. There are so many different things people can do, but what we're trying to do is move towards food sovereignty, make sure we've got food security, but move towards food sovereignty. And there are so many different roles that people can play in that. Maybe you're someone who likes to be in the back office and you can work with someone else who's a bit more outward going, but you can help run the social media, or you can help run the admin, or do emails and phone calls. There is a role for everyone, and we're going to be holding a meeting in the next week or so. So if you want to do it, jump in quick so you can join that. We're going to hold a meeting in the next week or so to see how these guys have started off and to give them some more ideas of things that they could get involved with.
Katherine, one last thing. You covered it in the sentence you said a minute ago, but this is not about what you or I can do. This is about, and I know there's a team behind everything we do. There's all the girls in the back office, which is great. This is about, in 2020, 100% they tried to break the community. They tried to get everyone to stay at home, everyone to be on their own, to bring the psyche down. What we are all about is this is community driven. This is about getting the community involved in community projects, making sure the community is fed. This is about getting the people back together, not breaking the system like they've been trying to do. So from the passion of us guys, if you are someone who loves your community and you want to do more in your community, this is the place to come and be.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Mark, thank you, my friend. It's good to have these updates. Guys, we know it's not amazing news, but it is reality. You know, price increases are coming in terms of food, and also we're going to see a huge reduction in what's available. Grow your own, connect with local people, find out how you can source food, get involved. It isn't the end, far from it. This is just the beginning, but we do need to move now. We haven't got time to waste, so get out there and make a difference. And if for anyone who wants to make a donation, please see the links below and get in touch. If you've got any questions, get in touch. God bless. We'll do an update soon, and yeah, we're going to break this. Take care.
Have a great day.